Coming up on Good Morning Idaho.
This is getting serious. It's starting to affect the real economy.
The federal government shutdown entering its third week with no end in sight. How the stalemate over health care could impact your premiums here in Idaho.
If the enhanced tax credit goes away, then I'm looking at a 900% increase.
And our Lori in Nettleton brings us a citizens initiative from state lawmakers to repeal Idaho's grocery tax, a move legislators say would be popular with Idahoans.
The vast majority of our constituents are against it.
87% of Idahoans don't want to be taxed on their groceries.
Plus, in our next half hour, a story new this morning, our Riley Shoemaker breaks down what we know about the planned Cutter Air Force Base coming to Mountain Home and the questions that remain. Good Morning Idaho starts right now.
Connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Hey everybody, it is Tuesday, October 14th. Welcome to Good Morning Idaho. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris. It is good to have you along. Hope you're off to a great start. We've got lots to get to in this hour from our large team of neighborhood reporters, and we're going to get to those stories, including those you saw at the top of the show in just a moment. But first, let's get the latest on our weather with Isaiah Sharp. Looking like a little bit of rain is going to be headed our way.
Yeah, drier days kind of behind us. It was a nice weekend, but we are expecting a little bit more precipitation to move on in. It hasn't hit us just yet, but you can see some indicators of it on the way. Take a look at the humidity sitting at 86%. That is a high sign of a fair bit of rain on the way. 43 degrees the current temperature right now. Nice and cool morning for us. A lot of us sitting into the 40s. Only a few 30s mixed in there, Idaho City and Cascade. But let's get to those storms that are rolling on in. Certainly sitting over the top, currently sitting over the top of Mountain Home and Glens Ferry, starting to make their exit. You actually have a couple of lightning strikes closer to the Ketchum area, but this is going to be arriving within the next hour. So as soon as you head out the door, you might notice a little bit of raindrops on your windshield. But going into the afternoon, nice clear skies expected, bit drier conditions, but we are seeing some more rain on the way. When is that set to arrive? Well, you're going to have to stick around.
All right, a bit of a mix. Thanks, Isaiah. Appreciate it. We start now this morning with a story that we brought you first last night. And Boise police this morning are still looking for an armed suspect last seen at the Boise Town Square Mall. And this is what we know. Boise police are still looking for a suspect they say was holding a knife and wearing a mask at the Boise Town Square Mall last night. Police say they responded to that call around 6:30. According to preliminary investigation by the Boise Police Department, a male suspect got into a fight with employees at a store kiosk. Boise police say the mall is secure, there are no reports of injuries, and they do not believe there is an ongoing threat to the public. Idaho News 6 is working to learn more. The Caldwell man who confessed to the murder of his 18-year-old daughter is back in court this morning. As we reported, Delbert Cornish was arrested back in August following the death of his adopted teenage daughter, Onyx Cornish. Court documents indicate that after Onyx's murder, he proceeded to shoot her cat. And those same documents containing his confession telling officers, "I did it, dude." Police say it was her brother who first discovered the aftermath in their Caldwell home, ultimately disarming the father and calling 911. Cornish's hearing is set for 10:30 this morning. The Boise psychiatrist accused of sexually assaulting a patient is due back in court today, this time in California. As we reported over the weekend, 45-year-old Alexander Wills was reapprehended in California after cutting off his GPS monitor and fleeing the state while out on bail. He had bonded out of jail on October 6th, and authorities had lost track of his whereabouts until this past weekend. Wills also had his license suspended last week after multiple complaints and what officials called an immediate danger to public safety. It's expected that today will be an extradition hearing. It is time to revisit your health insurance coverage. Open enrollment on Your Health Idaho starts tomorrow. But it comes at a time of major uncertainty about how much those premiums might actually cost you. The short answer is more. The Idaho Department of Insurance says individual plans on the state health exchange have increased by an average of 10%. But if ACA subsidies are allowed to expire as planned, many folks could see their costs double or more.
Just keeping everything the same as this year as far as my income, my premium would actually go up by 175%. If the enhanced tax credit goes away, then I'm looking at a 900% increase.
Those tax credits, a key sticking point in the federal government shutdown. Democrats demanding that they be extended. Republicans saying they won't discuss the issue until the government reopens.
The idea to repeal Idaho's grocery tax has been floated for years. Now, some Republican lawmakers are supporting an initiative to bring the effort to voters in 2026. I'm your neighborhood reporter Lori in Nettleton in Castleford, where I met with two state lawmakers out gathering signatures. The ongoing effort to repeal Idaho's grocery tax is now gaining support from some state lawmakers.
The vast majority of our constituents are against it.
87% of Idahoans don't want to be taxed on their groceries. You know, they did a poll.
Senator Glenita Zeiderfeld and Representative Clint Hostetler are collecting voter signatures to get the grocery tax repeal on the 2026 ballot. Both from District 24 made the first stops in Castleford and Wendell on Monday, the first in their tour of 13 towns in District 24.
Just one is a meet and greet, talking to our constituents, and then, of course, offering the ability to repeal the grocery tax by signing our petition.
It's sad, actually, that we have to come to this point. We should actually be doing the work of the people without having them to come out and put their signature on something to get us to do something for them.
Zeiderfeld tried bringing the issue to lawmakers during the 2025 legislative session earlier this year.
I was carrying that bill and couldn't get it passed on the Senate side, but the GOP party passed that resolution for us to go and bring a bill to repeal that.
Is it a surprise that the legislature hasn't gone anywhere on it?
I would think it is, and me being a newbie, a freshman still, I'm very surprised. But unfortunately, the reality of government is the bureaucracy, the administrations, once they get that income, it's hard to get them to relinquish it.
If they're able to gather the required 6% of signatures from voters statewide and 6% of signatures from voters in 18 districts, Idaho voters will see the measure on the ballot in 2026. In Castleford, I'm your neighborhood reporter Lori in Nettleton, Idaho News 6.
Rather than just reacting after a crime is committed, Caldwell police are taking a proactive approach, using real-time crime data technology to pinpoint exactly when and where trouble is likely to happen. I'm our Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis riding along with Officer Fector to see firsthand how officers are turning data into action as they work to protect our neighborhoods.
Break Canyonway 506.
Through one of Chief Ingram's visions, we hired a crime data analyst.
2 years ago, Caldwell police say crimes were spiking.
We had a spike in gang-related shootings. We had a drug-related homicide and another homicide. And we decided that we needed to look at data and to redeploy the way our officers work.
That's where the real-time data technology comes. The technology gathers data from high crime areas. And as police increase their presence, it's helping them crack down on crime, from speeding and thefts to graffiti and even domestic assaults.
Our daily patrol, we're able to see where crime is occurring, which gives us more direction of where to patrol, where to be proactive. But now that we have everything kind of categorized and organized into maps data that we get on a weekly basis, I'm able to push out, different patrol officers, different locations to try to prevent crimes that have been occurring if there is a crime trend, or just to continue deterrent of crime.
I rode along with Officer Tim Fector, who's worked for the department for 4 years. He says proactive policing is making a difference.
For example, up and down the boulevard here used to be a very high crime area, just with all the businesses and whatnot, and there were a lot of burglaries, thefts, all things like that. And I think because we are being more proactive, like Boulder being one of our target areas, I think that alone has helped reduce a lot of the crimes that we've seen in the past.
Since implementing the data, Caldwell police say all crimes have gone down. Burglary is down nearly 52%, vandalism is down 36%, graffiti is down 90%, and auto burglary is down nearly 49%. Captain Robert Rawson says decreasing auto thefts is a welcome change.
So we've seen almost up to 20 in 1 month. And so for us to only have 2 so far in October is a sign that our efforts through proactivity, through engagement, through collaboration are paying off.
It gives us the opportunity to be able to push our resources where they're needed. The officer's doesn't have any question on what their expectations are. We're like, hey, this area needs attention. And those officers are ready and willing to go out there. They love doing their jobs. They love serving this community and keeping it safer. So now we have that direction.
Captain Rosen tells me the department is constantly exploring new ways to strengthen safety in Caldwell's neighborhoods. And the next stop could include adding drones to provide extra support from above. I'm your Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis for Idaho News 6.
As new tariffs take effect today, a new report finds Americans are absorbing the majority of the extra costs. A look at the economy when we get back. 13 minutes past the hour, everybody. Welcome back to Good Morning Idaho. Let's take a look at your national headlines today. President Trump is hailing the ceasefire deal brokered between Israel and Hamas as the end of the war in Gaza. Trump said the hardest part is done as he stood with foreign leaders in Egypt on Monday. But the path to lasting peace and rebuilding the devastated territory will certainly be long and difficult. The ceasefire led to freedom for Israeli hostages and the release of Palestinian prisoners. The New York Times, Associated Press, and Newsmax are among 5 news outlets refusing to sign new Pentagon press rules. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's team says reporters who don't sign will be thrown out of the Pentagon on Wednesday. The new rules declare large areas off limits and threaten to revoke access for unapproved reporting. The Pentagon calls the rules common sense, but journalists say they punish routine news gathering. New U.S. tariffs are set to take effect Tuesday on timber and furniture. Softwood timber and lumber will now face a 10% tariff, while certain wooden furniture products will face a 25% tariff. In a statement, the White House said the wood products coming into the U.S. are weakening the American economy, resulting in the closure of wood mills and diminishing the domestic wood industry. However, critics have voiced concerns that the new tariffs will raise new home prices and discourage consumers from taking on home renovations. Now, these tariffs come as a new report warns that American consumers are bearing the brunt of the extra costs associated with tariffs. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio breaks down the numbers.
Take effect today. A new report finds Americans, at least for now, are absorbing the majority of the extra costs. According to Goldman Sachs, U.S. consumers will absorb 55% of tariff costs by the end of the year. American businesses, just 22%. Foreign exporters, 18%. New tariffs take effect today on kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, upholstered furniture, and lumber. The White House insists tariffs will have major economic benefits in the long term. Meanwhile, as the federal government shutdown enters its 3rd week, the Treasury Secretary says the economy is starting to feel the effects.
This is getting serious. It's starting to affect the real economy. We are having to hold back on some payments so that the brave men and women in the U.S. military can get paid.
Democrats are demanding Obamacare subsidies be extended to keep health care costs from rising. But the House Speaker says he won't negotiate until Democrats agree to reopen the government.
We're barreling toward one of the longest shutdowns in American history.
The American people want us to reopen the government. They want bipartisan negotiations, and they want the Congress to address the health care crisis that is devastating them.
Millions of federal workers have now received their final paycheck, and the Trump administration has fired more than 4,000 federal workers, including many inside the Department of Education. Sources say the special education staff has been decimated.
Every minute counts, every service counts, and this time wasted, it will change their trajectory to become independent adults.
And overnight, we learned dozens of federal employees that work on substance abuse and mental health have also been laid off. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
Hey, look at our neighborhood of the day. Bogus Basin receiving the first couple of inches of snow of the season. Exciting stuff to see that. 45 on the way for today, 70% chance of showers, and more is expected heading into Wednesday. We'll talk about what you're going to be expecting coming up in just a few moments.
Now, Isaiah Sharp with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
This morning, the focus has been on showers right over the top of Mountain Home and Glens Ferry, starting to rotate on into the Treasure Valley region. We should start to expect those first couple of showers making their way into the eastern part of Boise, and then moving on in to Maine, Boise, Meridian, Nampa, Caldwell. So kind of the opposite direction what we normally see. This low pressure system is actually to the south of us. What we usually are used to is it kind of just to the north of us, rotating on into us, moving from west to east. But we're kind of seeing this east to west motion happening today, and it's going to bring in showers today, and we'll see a couple of showers heading into tomorrow as well. So let's take a look first at temperatures, and then we'll detail out some more rain on the way for your Wednesday. 60 on the way for Boise, 60s down the I-84 corridor. The warmest we'll see is over in Glens Ferry. Glens Ferry been one of the warmer areas in our region compared to most of the other spots. Everybody else sitting into the 50s. A nice cool day is expected for us, and like I mentioned, some more rain is on the way. So here are those morning showers expected to roll on in with rain snow mixes for the mountain ranges. Exciting to see that. Highlighted Bogus Basin getting the first couple inches of snow, and hopefully we're going to start to see this trend continuing on, because I'm ready for the skis to hit the slopes. We're going to see a little bit more activity heading into Wednesday morning. Tuesday afternoon actually looking nice, so we'll see those morning showers today. Then the rest of Tuesday expected to be nice and dry, and then a little bit of a rinse and repeat. We'll see some more showers going into Wednesday mornings. Sophia Cruz will be back. She'll detail those showers moving on in, and then we'll see nice clear skies, and hopefully that's going to continue even into Thursday and Friday as well. So let's take a broader look at this system rolling on in. Here's that low pressure system I highlighted that's moving to the south of us. You can see that counterclockwise motion that's bringing these storms in from east over into west. You can see that snow up into the mountain ranges as well. But as Wednesday afternoon rolls on in, we're going to see a lot of activity developing over the Wyoming area. Plenty of snow on the way for them. And then heading into Thursday, Friday, even Saturday, gorgeous skies are going to be upon us, and even warmer conditions too. Nothing into the 70s, but the upper 60s should be arriving, and it's going to be a really nice weekend. And we are going to be expecting, like I mentioned, some snow into the forecast too. About 8 inches over the McCall area, an inch over Ketchum. Stanley's going to be receiving close to 5, and a lot of snow on the way for our friends to the east over in Wyoming. Jackson's going to get a fair bit over the next 24 to 48 hours. And when it comes to our 6 to 10 day outlook, the wider than normal conditions are going to be sticking around the Gem State too. So just prepare as we continue on into October. Things not going to get any drier as the fall rolls on in. Like the showers that we see this morning, they will follow us into Wednesday. 50% chance is expected, and temperatures sitting into those 50s, but skies dry out really nicely heading into the weekend. Thursday, Friday into Saturday, nice conditions, and then that slight bump in temperatures that's going to make things real cheeky. 50% chance on the way on Sunday, and temperatures sitting into those 60s, but as the work week rolls in next week, we'll see a dip in temperatures. But the focus today, be focused on those showers, and then some more rain on the way tomorrow.
Skiing by Thanksgiving? How about November 8th? Bogus Basin got its first dusting of the season this past weekend, measuring just about an inch at the snow stake. And with cold temperatures and precipitation in the forecast, as well as the resort's robust snowmaking abilities, General Manager Brad Wilson says a limited terrain could open in as little as 4 weeks if you've got a season pass. Now's the time to pick it up, of course. Thousands of folks have yet to do it, and you don't want to get stuck in long lines on opening day. A new point of sale system means everyone needs a new RFID access card this year. Last year's won't work.
In Albion, the Haunted Mansions of Albion is back for another year, scaring the ever-living daylights out of people. With Halloween just weeks away, one of the largest haunted attractions by square footage in the entire Northwest is back for another year. I'm your neighborhood reporter, Joey Martin, at the Haunted Mansions of Albion, where those brave enough are confronting their fears as they navigate through the historic and spooky campus of the Albion Normal School.
You wanna play game?
Shuttered in the 1950s, every fall for the past 18 years, the old Albion Normal School campus is transformed into a nightmare-fueled adventure called the Haunted Mansions of Albion.
These buildings were built between the late 1890s to the 1930s. So it just makes for a really amazing ambiance atmosphere for a haunted attraction.
Spanning 5 multi-story buildings, each with its own theme, the Haunted Mansions feature over 80 actors with one goal in mind: scare the ever-living daylights out of you.
So how do you feel about people coming into your backyard?
But behind that horror is a close-knit family, as cast members come back to the Haunted Mansions year after year to play their characters.
This is my 9th year.
Why do you come back? Why do you do this?
Because it's fun. It's actually enjoyable to come here and scare people. Also get to meet new people every year. It's so fun.
This is like my 7th year doing it, and it's definitely not my last year. I just love seeing the crowd, seeing everyone all excited to be here, and I get to go crazy and actually be myself.
Character?
Who are you?
I'm not a character. I sleep out there in the lawn. I ain't no character. This is my home. I was born and raised right in this little area.
While these dedicated scare professionals are clearly up to the task, visitors from around Idaho are eager to experience what the Haunted Mansions have in store.
I just want to get scared and get my adrenaline up.
I've been here before, so that's why I brought them. We came about 4 years ago, and it's like the best scare tactics in southern Idaho.
But this is worth the drive, worth the trip from Idaho Falls. This is by far the best haunted house in this area, probably across this side of the Mississippi.
For more information on tickets and hours of operation, log on to our website at idahonews6.com and click on this story. Reporting from the Haunted Mansions of Albion, I'm your neighborhood reporter Joey Martin, Idaho News 6.
All right, thanks for joining us this morning on Good Morning Idaho, everyone. We've got a lot more in store in our last half hour on this Tuesday morning, and here's what's still to come from your neighborhood reporters.
A surprise announcement in Washington, but military records show years of planning and preparation behind Idaho's new foreign air base.
In Emmett, how a community fundraiser could help these animals find their forever families.
Now we'll look outside from the Treasure Valley Chevy Dealers Tower Cam.
Connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Welcome back to Good Morning Idaho, everybody, into our last half hour on this Tuesday morning at 6:30. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris. It's great to have you along, everyone. It's going to be a little bit sprinkly this morning, so make sure you've got the umbrella handy just in case. We'll get to that in a moment. We've got a lot to get to internationally and from our large team of neighborhood reporters this morning. We'll the latest on the Gaza peace deal as the president declares that while the war is over, there is still a long road ahead when it comes to rebuilding Gaza after 2 years of bombing. Plus, after 80 years missing in action, our Brady Caskey attends the funeral of a World War II veteran as he's laid to rest in Parma. More on all that coming up, but first, the latest on our weather. Isaiah Sharp in for his last morning this morning with Sophia on vacation, and it's going to be a little bit rainy to start off at least.
Yes, we've got a couple of showers rolling on in. They've been over the top of Glens Ferry and Mountain Home, but starting to rotate into East Boise as we speak, and you can see some indications of it. No rain over the top of us just yet when it comes to the Grove Tower Cam, but take a look at that humidity, almost up into the 90 percentile. That's impressive to see. 43 the current temperature right now, but that's showing a lot of rain on the way. 40s basically across the board, couple of 30s into those mountain ranges, but let's focus in on some of that rain that's moving on in. It's been making this kind of east to west counterclockwise motion when we generally see a lot of storms coming in from the west. We're actually going to see this come in from the east, and the southeastern part of Boise is going to be the first to receive some of this rain. Pine starting to receive it. Couple of lightning strikes over the Ketchum area on top of that too. So as your morning commute starts, just be prepared. We're going to start to see a little bit of rain develop, and heading into tomorrow, even more showers on the way. We'll talk about that coming up in a few moments.
All right, and that means snow hopefully in the mountains too. Thanks, Isaiah. Appreciate it. We start this half hour with a story new this morning from our Riley Shoemaker. A planned Cutter Air Force facility in Mountain Home, stirring questions and some controversy. Riley breaks down what we know this morning and what is still uncertain.
Good morning, Idaho. A major announcement from Washington with Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth recognizing Qatar's role in negotiating a peace deal in Gaza.
and revealing something few in Idaho saw coming. A foreign Air Force facility planned right here at Mountain Home Air Force Base. I'm neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker, and military documents reveal the plans aren't exactly new. Secretary Hegseth announcing the U.S. is signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Emiri Air Force facility at Mountain Home Air Base. He said it will host a contingent of Qatari F-15s and pilots and interoperability. But documents from the Mountain Home Air Force Base show this is not a new plan. Development plans date back years, with an environmental assessment drafted in 2021 and finalized in March of 2022. The report outlines a decade-long arrangement to base 12 Qatari F-15QA jets and about 300 personnel operating as a separate but integrated fighter squadron under the command of the 366th Fighter Wing. The proposal calls for new hangars, housing, and support facilities on base, all paid for by Qatar. The Air Force's environmental finding states, quote, by continuing standard protection measures, there would be no significant impacts from the Qatar bed down at Mountain Home. The documents estimate 2,400 additional flight missions each year, about 14% of them at night, using existing training routes across southwest Idaho. Mountain Home already hosts the Republic of Singapore Air Force, and the Qatari program would be the second foreign partner to train at the base. The report found no significant increase in noise, and about 300 new personnel are expected to provide a small boost to local economy. National security implications, the Air Force says, remain under Pentagon oversight. The initial agreement outlined a 10-year plan with an option to extend for another decade, though it's not clear if that term was adopted in the final deal. Idaho News 6 is working to learn more about what this could mean for Idaho's communities and the country's strategic partnerships. I'm neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker, Idaho News 6.
President Trump returning home from the Middle East after securing a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. The president now declaring the war is over in Gaza as he warns there's still a long road ahead.
Together we've achieved what everybody said was impossible. At long last, we have peace in the Middle East.
It comes after an emotional day in Israel and Gaza. In Tel Aviv, celebrations erupted in what's become known as Hostages Square, as families were reunited with loved ones. As part of the first phase of the ceasefire agreement, Hamas releasing 20 living Israeli hostages and the bodies of some of the deceased hostages. In exchange, Israel releasing nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. But now the focus shifts to what's next. When pressed to talk about phase 2, President Trump would not commit to a two-state solution for the Palestinians.
I'm not talking about single state or double state or two-state. We're talking about building of Gaza.
More than 20 world leaders gathered for yesterday's historic peace summit and the signing of the ceasefire agreement, but notably absent were Israel and Hamas. Experts say the memorandum appeared largely symbolic and vague. Another question moving forward, will Hamas be willing to give up its weapons? President Trump says Hamas has been given approval to rearm to serve as a Palestinian police force for a period of time.
I don't see any scenario in which Hamas is going to 100% willingly give up all their arms to the Israelis.
Former President Biden, whose administration laid the groundwork for the deal, posted on social media to congratulate Trump, saying, "I'm deeply grateful and relieved this day has come," and thanking him for getting it over the finish line. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
More than 450 people have been laid off from the U.S. Department of Education. Sources say the cuts were mainly within the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services. That department supports special education programs that serve millions of people nationwide. A letter to staff noting the ongoing government shutdown made a reduction in workforce unavoidable. Last March, the Department of Education cut nearly half of its entire workforce. The move was part of the Trump administration's effort to reduce the size of the federal government.
After 80 years missing in action, an Idaho veteran killed in World War II has finally been laid to rest. I'm your neighborhood reporter Brady Caskey at the Lower Boise Cemetery in Parma, where Lieutenant Charles Atterbury is now buried next to his parents.
Today we remember and honor Army Officer 2nd Lieutenant Charles S. Atterbury, a son of Idaho. Welcome home, soldier. His life has come full circle as Parma was also his birthplace.
I personally did not know him or the family. Obviously, he died before my father was born. As a combat veteran myself, with both of my brothers having also served as combat veterans, it's always important to remember the sacrifices that are made by those veterans and their families to repatriate him back here to Idaho soil and place him with his family where he belongs is an incredible service.
We are one of the lucky ones because out of over 900 sets of remains, only 29 have been identified so far.
You can learn more about Lieutenant Atterbury and his story on IdahoNews6.com. Reporting in Parma, I'm Brady Caskey for Idaho News 6.
The Pet Adoption League here in Emmett is the only shelter in Gem County helping animals like this find their forever homes. I'm your Emmett neighborhood reporter, Greenlee Clark, learning how a community fundraiser could make a major impact.
We're looking for people that want to adopt and provide good homes for these animals. That's what we can use help with.
The Pet Adoption League started more than 3 decades ago with just a small group of Emmett neighbors taking in stray dogs until they could find them homes. Today, volunteers care for cats and dogs from across Gem County, relying completely on volunteer time and community donations.
Everything that we do comes from the gracious support from our community. So all the donations that we get support our shelter. It's happy because you know the things that you do are making a huge difference in these animals' lives.
These creatures are very social. They want to be with you as you're their person. So just make sure that you have time in your life for them.
The Pet Adoption League says for a $100 donation, you can get a ticket to win this Honda Pioneer UTV. The winner will be announced on December 13th. I'm your Emmett neighborhood reporter, Greenlee Clark, for Idaho News 6.
Here's his 1-2. Rodriguez.
The Seattle Mariners take a 2-0 lead in the American League Championship Series. Seattle clinching a monstrous win against the Toronto Blue Jays last night with a final score of 10-3 on the road. If Seattle gets 2 more wins to advance, it would be the franchise's first ever World Series appearance. Game 3 is set for tomorrow at 5:08 p.m. Mountain Time. Baseball in a football stadium? Well, they'll find a way to make it work and make it fun, too. Demand is through the roof for tickets to the Banana Ball League game coming to the Blue next summer. In fact, it's so high that they are holding a lottery for a chance to buy those tickets. That's for a stadium, of course, that boasts more than 36,000 seats. As you can see, the game has its own rules to make it extra entertaining. The Texas Tailgaters will take on the Party Animals in 2 games over 2 days next summer. Tickets start at $35. 20 minutes before the hour, let's take a look at what's happening in your neighborhood on this Tuesday. The Idaho Liberty Dogs organizing a memorial cruise in honor of the late Charlie Kirk's birthday this evening. Attendees will start at Ann Morrison Park near the Americana Boulevard entrance, leaving at 5:15 and ending at the State Capitol building in time for the God's Country March event, which starts at 6 p.m. They ask that you deck out your cars, trucks, and motorcycles with American flags. Amity Road is closed between Linder Road and Meridian Road for the next week and a half. Nampa Paving doing some underground utility work, and drivers should use Lake Hazel Road as a detour. The road is expected to reopen by next Friday, October 24th. And over at Jump Boise, it's a free scary costume making workshop. 3 classes over the next 3 weeks will have an expert seamstress guide you through the process using easy to find materials like cardboard boxes, gems, feathers, and fabrics. Plus, for serious designers, a limited number of sewing machines will be available on a first come, first served basis, and it runs today, the 21st through today, the 21st and the 28th from 6 to 8 p.m.
In Mountain Home, meet the woman running nearly 900 miles, honoring her Hispanic heritage along the way. I'm your Mountain Home neighborhood reporter, Sahana Patel. As Hispanic Heritage Month wraps up, I'm learning how one local runner is covering nearly 900 miles to honor her immigration journey.
For Christina Drake, every mile tells a story.
It really puts into perspective the amount of sacrifice that my parents and my grandparents put in to have us
come and be here. Christina was born in Mexico, but moved to the USA as a baby. To honor her immigration journey, she decided to take on a unique challenge, a symbolic run of 899.5 miles, representing the distance from her birthplace to Mountain Home.
Initially, it was to mimic the monarch butterfly migration, but because the monarch butterfly, ironically, is the symbol of immigration, I thought, I want to mimic my own immigration story through this journey.
And that monarch butterfly, Idaho state insect, is now tattooed on her arm, a symbol of resilience and transformation.
And I can tell you the past 10 years have been just that for me.
Christina started her run last year on October 1st.
Mile 4.
And since then, she's logged miles all around the nation.
So we were over the Gulf of Mexico. I got miles in Sedona in Arizona, Newport, Oregon a couple of weeks ago.
Christina's finish line is set for November 1st, hoping her journey inspires others with similar stories.
Just going after your dreams and making them come true.
I'm your Mountain Home neighborhood reporter, Sahana Patel, for Idaho News 6.
Rain on the way. Our neighborhood is Bogus Basin today, and they saw the first couple of snowflakes hit the ground, which is exciting for you skiers and snowboarders. Some more precipitation on the way, probably going to be, unfortunately, in the more liquid form than solid form, but there are more chances of showers on the way. Any chances that could be snow for Bogus Basin? We'll talk about that coming up in just a moment.
Now, Isaiah Sharp with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
A focus of today's forecast is that rain moving on into the Gem State over the top of Mountain Home. It was passing over Glens Ferry earlier, and the southeastern part of Boise should start to receive a couple of raindrops over the top of them. A couple of lightning strikes over the Ketchum area, something to pay attention to, but rain a part of this morning forecast. Luckily, into the afternoon, we are expecting skies to look a little bit clearer, but the temperatures are going to be nice and chilly for us today. Expecting 60 degrees from Boise down to Twin Falls. Everybody else sitting into those 50s. Ontario may join the party of 60s. Idaho City might too, but very cool day across the board, and that's going to follow us heading into tomorrow. And the showers, those are going to follow us as well, so just prepare for that. Here's what we're seeing this morning. A couple of showers developing over the top of us, and then expecting nice clear conditions, and then some more rain on the way going into Wednesday morning. So this morning's commute, a little bit of rain. Tomorrow's commute, a little bit of rain on top of that too. And some snow for those mountain ranges as well, which is exciting to see for skiers and snowboarders. Luckily, heading into the rest of Wednesday, expecting clear skies. Thursday, Friday, even into Saturday, expecting some great conditions on the way. It's all in part because of this low pressure system that's passing a little bit further to the south of us, and it's bringing in this counterclockwise motion that's drawing in this east to west. What we usually see is west to east, but because of the location of this system, that's what's bringing it in just from a different angle. Still seeing plenty of rain on the way and plenty of snow into those mountain ranges. Take a look at the border of Idaho and Wyoming, though. Over the next 48 hours or so, a lot of snow is going to be moving on in. And quickly after that, nice clear skies expected, like I mentioned. Thursday, Friday, heading into Saturday, some great conditions. Sunday might see a little bit more activity. We do have another system starting to develop into the Pacific Northwest. That may roll on in late into the afternoon on Sunday, so something to pay attention to. But nice dry skies expected after Wednesday morning's activity. Some snow on the way expected for those mountain ranges, about 8 inches over the McCall region, 5 inches closer to Stanley. We are going to be seeing wetter than normal conditions over the top of us when it comes to the latter part of October as well. So just prepare. Plenty of rain is on the way for the fall season. Today we'll see some rain. Tomorrow we'll see some rain too, and temperatures sitting into the 50s. Luckily, we warm right up into those mid 60s heading into the weekend. Some more chances of showers heading into Sunday. Something to pay attention to. And then 50s expected to move on in going into Monday, Tuesday. Let's get to your traffic.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
And a beautiful shot of the Grove Tower Camp. People heading on into work or heading out of the Boise region. A quick update on your traffic. We don't see it currently right now. Something wrong with my graphic, but I do want to highlight 37 minutes from Caldwell to downtown Boise. And what I saw earlier was a lot of activity along that Garrity exit, which is pretty normal this time of day. And then heading into Meridian, closer to the Eagle exit. Those are the two trouble areas that we're seeing most of the traffic moving on in. Eastbound traffic, nice and clear. 15 minutes from downtown Boise Boise to Meridian, not too much activity, but a look at those travel times. Caldwell to Garrity is going to take you 16 minutes, and most of that from Caldwell into Nampa. That's where you're going to see most of the pickup. Garrity to Eagle sitting at 11 minutes, and Eagle to downtown Boise just 8 minutes across.
In this morning's GMA First Look, Baldwin Brothers crash.
It was the biggest garbage truck I've ever seen.
Actor Alec Baldwin was driving a white Range Rover in East Hampton Monday morning with his brother Stephen sitting shotgun. A nor'easter was bearing down on the east end of Long Island at the time. But Baldwin says he crashed into the tree not because of the weather, but because he swerved to avoid a garbage truck.
I was in this car accident. Guy cut me off in a truck, big garbage truck. To avoid hitting him, I hit a tree. I hit a big fat tree and crushed my car, my wife's car.
Alec later taking to Instagram to discuss the accident.
Thank you to the East Hampton Police Department, the town police department, for coming to my aid.
And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have the latest on the crash and how the famous family is doing. With your GMA First Look, I'm Faith Abube, ABC News, New York.
All right, welcome back to Good Morning Idaho. We're just wrapping things up on a Tuesday morning. In case you missed it this morning, here are the top stories we're following from our neighborhood reporters.
In Castleford, meet the lawmakers gathering signatures in hopes of repealing Idaho's grocery tax. Senator Glenita Zeiderfeld and Representative Clint Hostetler are collecting voter signatures to get the grocery tax repeal on the 2026 ballot. Zeiderfeld tried bringing the issue to lawmakers during the 2025 legislative session earlier this year.
After 80 years missing in action, an Idaho veteran killed in World War II has finally been laid to rest. Lieutenant Charles Atterbury was buried on Monday at the Lower Boise Cemetery in Parma next to his parents.
One of the Northwest's largest haunted theme attractions is right here in Idaho.
Back for its 18th year, the Haunted Mansions of Albion, the Northwest's largest haunted attraction by square footage, spans 5 historic buildings on the old Albion Normal School campus. More than 80 actors work to scare visitors from across Idaho. The attraction runs through Halloween.
And of course, you can learn more about all these stories on our website. Just head to idahonews6.com.
Now, the Out the Door forecast, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors.
A final look at that forecast. Morning showers on the way for the Treasure Valley region, so just prepare for that. Temperatures only expected to be into the 50s. We might barely break into the 60s, and prepare because heading into tomorrow, we'll see basically rinse and repeat. More morning showers, clear afternoons, and temperatures barely breaking into the 60s. Hopefully into the weekend. Skies will be clear. Let's get to your traffic.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
And a quick update on how the roadways are looking. Even though the skies are just barely clear, we are seeing a little bit of pickup. Garrity exit Caldwell into Nampa. That's where we're starting to see a little bit. Also heading towards Eagle into Meridian. That's where we're going to see a little bit of activity as well. Westbound traffic's looking great at 15 minutes. Eastbound is really where we're seeing most of the trouble. 15 minutes from Caldwell to Garrity. Garrity to Eagle at 11, and Eagle to downtown Boise sitting at 7. Well, we've been talking a lot of baseball last couple of days. Might as well keep up with it. We've been talking about the Mariners, but let's focus on, the other guys in the NL. Pretty impressive perforence from the Dodgers.
That's Sal Frelick right there. And he's one of my favorite young players for the Brewers, and he made an amazing catch there. This happens very rarely. I forget the numbers.
It was an 8-3-1 or 8-3-2. I think that's what it is. It was like the first in baseball. I don't know if it was baseball history or just playoff history, but absolutely incredible effort. I mean, to bobble the ball, catch it, throw it back home, that's just incredible.
Sal Frelick, one of the best young players in baseball. Unfortunately, the Brewers lost. They did beat my Cubs, but they're my second favorite team, and I certainly, want to see him beat the Dodgers.
Freddie Freeman, he's just a menace in the postseason.
They just have so many great players.
So
it's ridiculous. I hope they lose. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone.